good afternoon, everybody. Or should I say good evening? Good evening. Yes, good evening. Thank you very much for coming out and waving and being brave enough to wave through the bugs and things of that nature. We're going to make it very, very interesting for you. But before we start, we're going to start with, we're going to thank Miss Norman and all of the veterans for allowing us to be here. What's her name? Sharon, thank you very much for opening up the garden for us.
For availing yourself of the garden.
Yes, thank you.
Here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So that being stated, thank everyone else. If we could just start with a moment of silence before we get started, please. Outstanding, outstanding. We're going to start with our roll call and quorum acquisition, please. Councilor Earls, present.
Councilor Root is present.
Councilor Winter is present.
Okay, we have 3 of 3, so we have a quorum. Therefore, we're going to get started. I'm going to do my part and get out of the way here. Approval of minutes. For those of you who have an agenda. Yes, ma'am.
I just don't want you guys to be uncomfortable facing the sun. And I was thinking maybe if you kind of put your tables over there, at least you'd still be facing us and not directly in the sun, because I don't like seeing you all look uncomfortable.
That's okay. Just think we're winking at you. You guys good? You guys good? Okay.
I can use a little vitamin D.
Doctor and Proctor wants the vitamin D. Okay, fantastic. So that being said, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Thank you very much for the hospitality. So we're going to start with the approval of our minutes for our June 12th, 2020 meeting that was held at Morris Park. It started promptly at 6 o'clock. The quorum was established. All of us were present. During our public comment session, we had various questions. One being, why are there so many community groups given the funding and notoriety in our neighborhoods where they do not live inside? So many of the community groups in attendance spoke out about that. And there was another question on the floor regarding illegal parking by business vehicles in the residential neighborhoods. And Alderman Jason happened to walk in. How timely, you would think it was programmed. He walked in and he addressed the crowd while he referenced Chicago Police Department's need to eradicate the service and enforce parking in residential areas. There was a question on the floor regarding, brother, what's your name again? Hassan. There was a question on the floor regarding the faith-based collaborative, and Hassan, I didn't know your name, so I didn't add it. He basically let us know that it was a part of the collaborative effort of Art Now, ARTNOW. If you text the number of 1-844-325-4410, you can stay connected with the faith-based collaborative. There was quite a few pop-ups on July 4th. We had a shooting in Columbus Park, and there was a lot of collaborative people present and a lot of resources that came out as well. That's what we want to make sure that the community knows, that they are not suffering alone and that we care. We need to know what's happening so we can get this to the 15th district and let them understand what the community lives with every day. So that being stated, the awardee at the time was Miss Bertha Purnell from Mothers on a Mission 28, and our campaign for best awareness was mentioned. For beat awareness, not best, excuse me, beat awareness was mentioned. CPD was not notified, therefore, that was explaining their absence of the particular meeting. They are aware of this one, however, and Manuel Whitfield was an organizing speaker for our meeting. And last but not least, our very own Dr. DeAndre Rudis was honored for successfully achieving his doctorate degree. So, yes. So that being stated, are there any questions or corrections of the minutes as read?
I move to pass the minutes from, what was it? June 12th.
Second.
Okay, it has been motioned by Councilor Rudis and second by Councilor Winters that the minutes be accepted as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So that being stated, we're going to go with our updates from our counselors, and after I speak, I'm going to, for the most part, ladder it over. Yes, Brother Hassan.
You got Officer Nunez showing up for Chicago Police.
Here?
Okay, outstanding. So they are on the street. Okay, fantastic. So that being stated, I'm Councilor Earls, your chair of the 15th District Councils. I've gone to the faith-based meeting, and I'm going to continue to talk about that because what's happening is 15th. I said faith-based. 15th District faith-based meeting. It takes all of us. There's an adage that says, none of us are as strong as all of us, and many hands make light work. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of resources, things of that nature that is flowing through our neighborhoods. But the interesting part about it is, hello, Brother Lemuñoz. The interesting part about it is it takes all of us to get up under the load and carry it so that it's not tearing down any one specific resource. So that being stated, I see the Marines sitting here, and I appreciate the fact we're in the Veterans Garden. I appreciate the fact that for your service, sir. And that being stated, I knew we were coming. So is there any other military people present? No? Okay, doctor, do me a favor, ma'am.
I was telling him semi-military.
Okay, paramilitary myself, absolutely. That counts, that counts. My mother said we were in a gang, she had 8 kids, so therefore that was it. But what I'd like for the doctor to do, this is a pin that says United States Marine Corps. On behalf of the 15th District, can you pin our Marine here? And we thank him for his particular service. Sir, what's your name? I didn't know he was going to be here. I just bought them for every branch, and whoever was coming, I was going to have you pin. So there you go. Brother Arthur, our Dr. Andre Rudis, you're going to be the first person. He's been hooded, but he's going to pin you.
I don't want to poke you.
Wait, hold on. Let me get the picture. Sorry. I'm breaking your guard.
Sit down. I ain't a surgeon, so my hands ain't steady. Oh, man. So we just want to thank you again for your service. I always make sure, and I got this from my brother, that I thank a veteran and anybody that's currently serving the military for their service, because it takes a lot of courage to get out there and do what you guys do for all of us to enjoy all of this. So thank you on behalf of the 15th District Council for your service, and for those that have not thanked you, I thank you for them as well. Yes, sir.
Outstanding. Well, you know what? That's going to wrap me up. That's what I do. I'm the chair that basically takes care of the logistics, and they're going to kick me out if I do anything different. So at this particular time, I'm going to turn it into the hands of Dr. Rudis.
Yep. So I will give an update. Again, I'm Dr. DeAndre Rudis. I am our community engagement specialist. Essentially, my role is to make sure I'm like the liaison, the communication point between the community and the police. And if there's any issues, generally, they come through me. So with that said, here's a couple things that I am currently working on. So for our group, I make sure that we have a, okay, yep, this one.
It doesn't matter, they're both on, right?
That one.
Turn it on, slide it up.
Yo. Wait.
The orange one.
Okay. Okay, got it. All right. So for our group, one of the things that I work on monthly is a newsletter. And so unfortunately, I was trying to print the newsletter from our last meeting, which contained the information that Councilor Earls just shared, but my printer wasn't working, unfortunately. So with that though, each person that is signed in, you will get a copy of this. What I'd like to put on our newsletter is 2 QR codes, and these give you an opportunity, one, to take a public safety survey. We would like to track our progress and see how community is interacting with police and the issues and things like that. Obviously, we would hope that towards the end of our shift, right, which is in the next 2.5 years, that we would have made some sort of difference. So we want to track that. So if you'd like to take that, please do, because we would like to see how we are doing. The other thing we have is essentially a contact us card. Some folks would like to remain anonymous. They don't always like to speak in these meetings about the issues that are happening in the community and or towards them from the police. So this gives you an opportunity to contact us. It comes directly to me. I'll make sure that whatever the issue is articulated, but it is not announced who the person is. That's if you want to remain anonymous or just want to reach out to us in general. The other thing is typically you'll find a link that shows the video. We do record each of these meetings so that folks that would like to be informed but can't be here can also do that. So we keep track every month of one of them. The other thing, for the flyer, I'm sorry, newsletter. The other thing is, last month I mentioned that there was an issue that a young man called me about that we needed COPA to look into and investigate. So I did follow up with COPA to see where they are in that process. Apparently that there was so many officers involved in this particular incident that it's probably going to take about 6 months. So right now they're just starting the investigative phase in which they're going to do the interviews. But again, there were so many officers, and for those that weren't here last month, what happened was he was riding down Washington and Long. He saw a group of officers detain a female. He said as he was watching, a female officer then struck that woman, and all of the other officers kind of gathered around her. They took her down to the ground to kind of avoid any other happenings. But it was something that he called me about. We got in touch with COPA, and now COPA is following up. But again, as we get more updates, I'll give you more updates, but I just want to keep you notified of that. So again, any policing misconduct issues that you come across, you can always reach out to us about that, and we'll help you with that. Other things that we would like to point out is we would like to institute some signature events. These are going to be biannual events. These are something that when I worked for the policing project, which I still work for, we were trying to put this in place. So we have one upcoming, we call it 911 Day. And what we want to focus on is emergency response. So right now we have Ujima, thank you. So Ujima medics will come out and do a gunshot wound training. We have that available for up to 25 people, and we're gonna do that right now. We're looking at trying to get it at By the Hands Club. No. We're trying to get that one at, where are we trying to get this one at? Location to be decided. What we're trying to do currently, and I'll get to that in terms of By the Hands. So the other event will be a 311 event. So that's non-emergency, but we would like to turn that into a training day in which we can get some certifications or something. So we're working on that currently to see what that will look like. But moving forward, we will have biannual events, 311 Day and 911 Day. One will focus on trainings for certification. One will focus on emergency response. The other thing that we want to do is, so quarterly we've done these Know Your Rights workshops. We missed the last quarter, but this quarter we have it already set for 8/15. That'll be August 15th, and we're looking at about 5:30. This one will focus on cannabis rights. So we have Cannabis Equity Illinois, we have the state's attorney's office, and we have the Westside Justice Center. So they're gonna come out and kind of run you through the gamut of what it looks like now that marijuana has been decriminalized. The other thing, and that one will be at By the Hands. So we're working on securing that location, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. The other thing is we keep a resource drive of all of the information that we share. So our newsletters will be in there. We have trespass affidavits and noise ordinance and whatever else comes up during the meeting that there's already precedence for, we put in that particular drive. It's a Google Drive that can be shared out to anybody that wants that as well. And the last thing I'll report is that there has been major issues on Cicero and Adams in terms of public safety. I've gotten several calls about it. There's like a drug house or something in that particular area. Reached out to the DCOs, the DCO sergeant sent a couple of her men over there. They looked at it. They're getting troubled buildings involved. They're getting the SDSC room, which is our intelligence room. They're getting a gang officer involved, and they're going to start to put a little bit more pressure. What we are trying to do on this side is organize a block walk so that we can get a couple organizations involved. We're looking at the Westside Opioid Task Force. We're looking at, of course, Chicago Police. We would like one of the organizations that are in the surrounding area to come out to offer resources to hopefully help with the issue. And that is being scheduled for July 24th, somewhere around 6 o'clock. And so we're still waiting on confirmation from the commander and or the sergeants that'll come out with us to help with that. And with that, that is all I have to report.
Thank you, DeAndre. Okay, so before I go into my district council updates, I have a couple of community updates. And so the first one is in my day job, I'm a community organizer with Austin Coming Together. And next Thursday, July 18th, there are some flyers on the table. We're doing a Farming While Black movie presentation. It's July 18th from 6 to 9:30 at Build. There will be dinner bites, a panel discussion, growing food on the West Side, live band, taste of garden, fresh produce, summer salad showcase, which I would be putting a salad in the showcase because I am actually a classically trained chef. And what else? Yeah, garden tours, raffle prizes, and all family members are welcome. So that's my first community announcement. And then the second one, this is from our fellow district councilwoman in the 25th district, Angelica Green, who has a son who is living with sickle cell. She is doing a blood drive. I don't have a flyer for this, but I just talked to Oswaldo. We're gonna, as long as you sign in and we have your information, we're gonna make sure to email you all the flyers and things that we have. But she is, and I don't have my glass on, she is doing a blood drive because she says our blood saves lives. And it's gonna be at the Northwest Austin Council, 5730 West Division. 5730 West Division on Thursday, July 25th, 10 to 4 p.m. So if you have a little blood you can give. I told I'm anemic, girl, I can't come out there. But I do have a special blood type. I'm A negative, and she's like, "Array, come get some of your blood." So I'm like, I'm gonna eat good and drink lots of grape juice and go get blood. So now on to my district council updates. So on this body, I am the nominator. So I was working alongside the other 21 district council nominators to elect send the names to the mayor of the people who we felt should be on the community commission. And like I always say, the community commission side of this body to me is the interfacing. I mean, they work more along the city side. They write policies. They draft the what is it for the superintendent, like protocols and what he's supposed to do while he's in, as well as COPA and other
set goals.
as well as the police board, and I consider us outer facing, like community engagement. So 6 of them, it's supposed to be 7, 6 of them have been seated, and there was a question around one, our youth ain't here. Is it the same, Rubio?
Ruby.
Ruby, and so next week it has to go to city council, to the, which body is it?
Police and Fire Subcommittee.
Police and Fire Subcommittee, and they're going to vote on whether this young man will be able to be seated because he works for an alderman, and they think it may be some conflict of interest. We're hoping that they seat him, because if not, they're telling us that we have to go back to the drawing board. And I mean, I don't even think we can go back into the other applicants, that we would have to go back to the drawing board, and it was a tedious process, and we really don't want to have to do that. So we're hoping that, you know, that young man gets seated, and we'll have our 7 our new commissioner body. And at some point they're going to have a meet and greet, I think. Oswaldo?
Yeah.
They're gonna have a meet and greet. Okay, and so, and when we find that out, we'll definitely, you know, make sure to give you all that information. And so, where did I begin this? The 15th district had a wonderful relationship with our commander, but unfortunately, other districts were not having good relationships with their commanders. And so now, the police department is putting forth a directive, a general order, I don't know the number, in terms of how district counselors and commanders are supposed to engage. So we are waiting for that order to come down. But speaking in terms of engagement, I was at a meeting last night with the superintendent. It wasn't for me as a district counselor, it was the coalition side. But one of the things that the superintendent is still stressing is that we still need more community engagement between police and you know, community.
Oh no, I don't know. Make sure you mention the RFP that we got too, because I think that's part of the community RFP.
I am. That's next.
Sorry.
Yep, I'm gonna do that because we want somebody to apply for that. So we're working on building those relationships. But one of the things that, you know, I thought about, and I ran this past the commander, and he gave me some ideas for the 15th district. We want to have an open house. But the commander was saying he thought it would be, like, the community may not come out if we just say we're doing an open house for the police department, because there's still that, you know, relationship that we have, unfortunately. So I'm going to connect with some community members and see. International Day of Peace is coming up. I believe it's September 21st. And so I'm looking at that day for us to build something around there so we can work with organizations in the community that are doing violence prevention, that are doing restorative justice, to incorporate them in the piece as well as our police department. Because what I told I don't even know what his role is, so many people. But I said, unfortunately, the community is not fully aware of all of the resources that are in our department, all of the layers of who is who in the department, and education and knowledge is everything. And so that's something that we're going to be working on in the very near future. So be looking out for that. Because the superintendent said this, I missed the meeting, but DeAndre said that 15 should be the model, right? And I'm going to hold him to that the 15th district should be the model, because we already have good working relationships with our department, and we need to build on that, and it needs to shadow other departments. And so looking forward to that. So it's general order engagement. And at some point too, and I talked to DeAndre about this, because I know Pastor Epstein mentioned this in the faith-based meeting about, and I don't know if it's been created, but something training awareness in preparation for the DNC. Yeah. Because as we know, it is coming August 17, somewhere around there, 3 days, they'll be here. People from all over are going to be coming in for that. And we know where manpower will be. And so we're going to have to keep us safe. And we need to come up with some strategies and some tools and resources so we keep Austin safe while our officers are protecting the rest of the city. Because we know, they're going to be protesting, it could be possible mayhem, and the United Center is down the street. And so that is something that we're going to work on in the very near future, because it's coming, August to be here before we know it. So we're going to check on that, and anything else, we'll get it to you guys. At our next meeting, at our August meeting, because it's right before the DNC, so we need to have that conversation.
Text that out now and they will inform.
If they text Art,
It's on their agenda.
okay, if they text Art now, so it's on the agenda, so text Art now. And what else did I have? DNC written, okay, so about this, what is it, a PDF, RFP? This RFP. So, if you are a community-based organization, there is a grant that has just come out. And we're encouraging some of you in Austin to apply for this. But it says in January 2024, Superintendent Larry Snelling outlined the vision that all people in the city of Chicago know how to engage with the Chicago Police Department, and know that every Chicago police officer is a community policing officer. They're there to support them. This goal directly aligns with requirements in the Chicago Consent Decree and Mayor Brandon Johnson's People's Plan for Community Safety. So what they are looking for is community organizations to apply for this. I think the grant is $35,000, and is to help build relationships with community and our police department. So inside of this work, you should have workforce allocation initiative, a 911 alternative response. I don't know all the other stuff. It's a lot of stuff. So and again, I didn't make copies of this, but if we have your information, if you're signed in, we will forward this application and information to you as well. If you're you definitely should apply for this. So I will send that information to you all as well. So I think, and it's a short turnaround date. I think July 18th, sometime next week they're due. And I just got this like yesterday, day before yesterday. So it's a quick turnaround, but we will definitely share that out with everyone.
May I ask, where's the RFP at? Is it online somewhere?
It is. I think it came from the mayor's office of community safety. Manny Whitfield sent this to us.
Carla, do you have a copy there in front of you? Are you reading from it? Maybe we could take a picture of it, or you could email it to everybody on the list.
I could email it for sure.
Okay.
It's a few pages. I'm actually trying to look for it to see when the dates are. So I'm sorry, I got a gazillion emails in here. Okay, let's move to the next point on the agenda. As soon as I find it in my ton of emails, I'll share that out with y'all. As a matter of fact, I'll give you all the website so you can go and find it. Okay, here, DeAndre.
All right, so for the next section of the meeting, what we do is we like to highlight community-based organizations that are doing some incredible work. Typically, they are smaller in size, but they need to be acknowledged. And so today, we have Brother Hassan from Anchor Chicago, who's been doing mighty work over there near Moore Park area. And so we really wanted to highlight him and let him introduce himself and his organization and the mission.
Good afternoon, everyone. I won't keep you all long. My name is Hassan Harper. I'm the founder of Anchor Chicago. Anchor Chicago is a non-for-profit ran right out of Austin. We have one base at Moore Park, and our other base is at our lovely 15th District Police Station. Anchor Chicago does a ton of things. We provide safe environment for children that have experienced trauma. So when there's a shooting on the block or something like that, we go out and set up a safe environment for the children to acclimate back to the community and be, feel a little bit of safety and being at home. The other thing we do is we do a homeless cafe. We go out to homeless encampments all over the city, set up a restaurant right there. Everything totally free. There's nothing too expensive to feed. We make sure we feed them just like we want to eat every time. Another part of it is we do uniforms for children in the Austin community and other communities where we give them free uniforms, brand new, to go back to school. Just some of the things we do. I want to say thank you to the council for inviting me out.
Yes.
If you all want any other information about Anchor, you can go to anchorchicago.org or go on Facebook, type in Anchor Chicago. We have a big event coming up on the 20th at Columbus Park in partnership with Taste for the Homeless. We'll be feeding and busing in over 2,000 people from different shelters around the city, feeding and clothing them. This will be the third year we did it at Columbus Park. We turned the whole Columbus Park field house into a shopping mall. So that's in partnership with Taste for the Homeless, Chef Michael Earhart. But go online. That's on this one. You all go online. You all have some events. More than welcome. I'll come out, participate in your events. You come out and participate in mine.
Yeah, I would just like to know if anybody has any objection to us having a copy of the sign-in sheet so that we can share our events and information with you and you can share your events and information with us.
No.
I mean, other people sign.
Anyone that signed in? Anyone that signed in opposed to us sharing your information?
What time? The event will start from 12 to 4 at Columbus Park there. But if you go online, like I said, if you go on my Facebook, I post pop-ups all the time where we're going into different neighborhoods. And our whole focus is the city of Chicago. That's why I named it Anchor Chicago. A ship without an anchor is a destroyed ship. So we want to be a part of anchoring our city that we love and make it stable. Thank you all for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Volunteers are always welcome. We work on a volunteer base, so it's always welcome.
What's your email address?
You can always reach me on my personal quicker than you can Anchors. Hyson Harper, HYSON HARPER at yahoo.com.
Gotcha. Thank you, brother.
Did you say you had a physical location?
Yeah, I sent it.
Well, I work out of Moore Park. I don't have
I know
a
where the park.
yeah.
That's over by Christ the King.
Right across the street from there, yeah. I haven't gotten a physical building of Anchors, but we make it work. To be honest with you, the street is our building.
Hey, the street was Jesus built.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's right.
All right, so Brother Hyson and Cassandra, I sent both of you the RFP.
Thank you.
Is it okay? Sharon? No, I know. Do you need me to send it to you as well, or?
Cassie's got it.
Yeah.
We'll share it.
Y'all got-
I'll share
Okay,
it.
cool.
I'll share
I
it.
just want to let y'all know that I sent it to
For our
you.
organization.
Okay.
We just want to know
I got you.
if we fit the criteria, because a lot of
It's
times
community-based
they have,
organization. That's all that matters.
Really?
Yeah, that's what
You
it
won't
matters.
know until you apply.
So,
Uh,
so we appreciate you, Anchor Chicago, for coming out, letting folks know who you are. We'll make sure, again, we highlight this in our newsletter and everything. So, you know, the more we grow, the more everybody grows, you know. So with that, we also have a guest speaker today. We have the Office of Inspector General to talk a little bit about the work that they do, how we all partner in this work of police accountability. And so we would like to welcome Deputy Inspector General Tabara Richardson.
Testing.
Hi everybody. As was just said, my name is Tabara Richardson. Okay. Okay. And I serve as the Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety. With me I have Deanna Shoss, who is our Community Director of Communications. And the Inspector General is Deborah Witzberg. So what is the City of Chicago's Office of Inspector General? We are a nonpartisan, independent oversight agency that works to with the mission of effectiveness, efficiency, integrity in city government. And so essentially, what does that mean, right? It's a bunch of words. It means that we work to make city government better, and we work to hold city actors accountable when they break rules. And so, as I said, that we are independent. We are not independent simply because I said we're independent, but we are actually independent in a number of ways. One, the Inspector General herself, she can only be removed for cause, and she has a set term, which is 4 years. And she gets to serve 2 terms if selected by the mayor and appointed by City Council, for a total of up to 8 years. Additionally, we are independent in that we cannot be starved out, right? If city actors don't like what we're doing and they say like, oh, we're just going to approve your budget, we're not going to give you money to do the work you need to do. That can't happen. We get 0.14%, a minimum of 0.14% of the city's entire budget. Additionally, the work that we do, nobody can tell us what to do or not do. We decide what work we're doing. So we are not just independent because I said that we are, but we're actually independent in actions and in our ability to be able to use our budget to do the work we need to do. So that's first thing. What's our jurisdiction? Our jurisdiction is over almost anything connected to the city. So elected officials, appointed officials, lobbyists, those who have contracts with the city, and the departments that are a part of the city. So that is a broad overview of the Office of Inspector General. Question is, I told you about our mission, so you also may wonder, well, how do you do your work? What is your work? So we do that in a number of ways. One, we conduct investigations, both administrative and criminal investigations. So that is a large aspect of the office. Additionally, we conduct audits and programmatic reviews and evaluations. I'll talk a bit more about that as it relates to the public safety section a little bit later. And then we like to make we have transparency just for the sake of transparency. Deanna put some hand sanitizer over there. We're cleaning up city government. Sometimes we have flashlights. We're shining lights in windowless rooms. We believe that the government belongs to the governed, and that is what we endeavor to help the city do. So now I'm going to talk. I'm actually going to pause myself. I will say that I could do this, right, and just put me on play and I'll just keep talking. But I feel like we are a nice enough crowd where if people have questions or want to jump in, by all means, because I feel it's more useful for us to engage as opposed to me just talking to you all. So I'm going to keep talking, but at any point, feel free, interrupt, throw up a hand, however you all decide to do it before I shift. So I'm about to do a shift to talk specifically about the public safety section. So if we move back in time, if we go back to 2014, we have the murder of Laquan McDonald. We fast forward to 2015 when the video is released, and then we fast forward to 2016 after we know then Mayor Rahm Emanuel put together a police accountability task force. And then, you know, the U.S. Department of Justice, they were also doing a pattern and practice review of the city of Chicago specifically, also the Chicago Police Department. And from all of those things, City Council approved the public safety section within the Office of Inspector General in 2016. So the public safety section is meant to provide dedicated resources within the Office of Inspector General, specifically to look at police operations, programs, and accountability. So that is the public safety section. The first Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety was confirmed in 2017, and we got a question.
It seems like there's some overlap or some duplication.
Okay, so what I will do now is I will shift into talking about, I'm going to come back into the public safety section specifically, but I'm going to pull out. So as far as the public safety arena, in ways it can be looked at as a crowded field, but each entity on the field has its specific role. So if we look at the Office of Inspector General as an office, right, jurisdiction over the entire city, and because my role sits within the office, specifically I'm looking at the Chicago Police Department, I'm looking at the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, COPA, I'm looking at the police board, those things. But because we are within the city, that means that just like the Office of Inspector General has jurisdiction over the entire city, if we have, say, Chicago Police Department members who may be accused of some misconduct that overlaps with some other city employee, well, our office is the place where that would land because we are looking at the whole city, as opposed to if it's something that's only where we're looking at Chicago Police Department member. In a lot of ways that will fall into COPA's lap, depending on what the jurisdiction is or what the allegations are, right? If it's a Fourth Amendment violation or if it's a sexual misconduct evaluation, right there are certain things that only fall within COPA's lap. But then if it's a criminal investigation, that's going to be within the Bureau of Internal Affairs, BIA, which is within CPD. So does that get to the overlap you were speaking to, or is there something specific?
As I sit here and I listen, to our speakers here and listen to you, I hear overlap. With your division and even within the Chicago Police Department, and it's so much bureaucracy that it seems like it really drags on getting things done, getting things achieved. It's just sometimes I feel like it's actually working against itself in terms of protecting its citizens.
And I understand how that can be the perception, and that's exactly why I am here. So I can't speak for any other entity, only my own, but I can speak broadly as to like what each entity is designed to do, right? So if we look at the investigation section specifically within the Office of Inspector General, most of their investigations are going to be investigations into city actors outside of the Chicago Police Department. But the Office of Inspector General is the only office that is doing it. Some of the sister agencies, so for example, the Chicago Police Department or the Chicago Park District, now they have their own Office of Inspector General. But for the most part, what you're looking at is the Office of Inspector General. So we're doing broader city actors. COPA, if it's in their jurisdiction, they are looking at the Chicago Police Department. Sorry to use you just because you're sitting here. And then if it's something criminal or doesn't fall within COPA's jurisdiction, then that's BIA. So each entity is doing something different. Now, if we want to come to CCPSA, CCPSA, or the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, was established after, say for example, the public safety section within the Office of Inspector General, after COPA, Civilian Office of Police Accountability. And as was brought out earlier, and I'm not looking at the municipal code, the exact mission of CCPSA and of the district council members, you can look to the ordinance that established them for that. But a great thing about CCPSA, district council members, just like we're here today, and what wouldn't necessarily happen under other circumstances are, they are the bridge, right? So whereas we are doing investigations, we are doing audits, we are doing reviews, right? And we do community engagement as well. But this is an entity where we can bring like our concerns directly to them. And same thing with us, right? We have a great and robust intake function. So 833 talk to IG at igchicago.org. Like anything comes up, like feel free to reach out to us. But what we're doing are administrative investigations, criminal investigations. COPA has their place for investigations, BIA has their place for investigations, but when there are concerns that don't necessarily fall into the space of an investigation, like these are your folks, right? Maybe you can't get in touch with the superintendent or the commander, but like these are your folks, right? So they help serve as a bridge for everybody, right? So bringing the concerns of the community back and forth, right? Two-way street between each one. So I get it, right? It's a crowded landscape, and in a lot of ways, it can look like, what do we need all of these different entities for? But if everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, we each have our different parts. Did that help clarify a bit?
Yeah, that helps, but I'm concerned, where does the safety of the citizens come in all of that?
Well, and so that's the thing. At the end of the day, each one of our missions, like that is where you may say, I just said, right? Each entity has its own purpose, but all with the same goal in mind. When we talk about public safety, like it's all the same goal. It may look differently, and that's a starting place. I was asked to speak on a topic later where there has been some disagreement, but I hope at a foundation, right, what it looks like is going to vary, but at a foundation, like the whole goal, the whole purpose of it all, like is public safety. So, may not be satisfactory, but that is.
What about staffing? I don't know if this is Bob's question, but what about staffing? A lot of times when you make inquiries or express concerns about something, the first thing you hear is, oh, our staffing is down, or we only have so many police, or we have so many, so it's hard. I was on the call with the Northwest Austin Council Sunday, and that came up about, where they're going to be putting their resources for the Democratic National Convention. And, one of the first things that came up kind of as a rebuttal was staffing. So somebody, some of the higher ups or Lucky Mucks or whoever, had to make a decision. Do we want to put on lipstick and eyeliner when the DNC is in town, and our citizens kind of be in the background a little bit and have to kind of fend for themselves, I mean, I'm maybe rambling, but do you get the gist of what it is I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
And then the first thing they want to say is our staffing. So somebody had to make a decision. Where are we going to put most of our resources when Chicago becomes on the international stage? And, like you were saying when you started initially, DNC, Chicago Stadium, so we're out here, trying to fend for ourselves. So staffing, what's staffing like in the area?
So I hear you, and I can't speak on behalf of the Chicago Police Department, but what I will say is a part of what my section in particular does is we do reviews and evaluations of CPD operations, policies, programs, and as a part of that, we have a number of things that address that. So one, we put out a report as it relates to CPD's preparedness for mass gatherings. And so we talked about how, right now it's still a draft policy, but we've talked about some of the things the draft policy can address, and some of the things that we still see as needing to be addressed, such as roll calls, things of that nature. As it relates to staffing, also we have a dashboard that we're actually in the process of adding some different features to it. And so what that means is if you go on our website, igchicago.org, you can look at the public safety dashboards. And so I can't tell you how the decisions are made as far as who is sent where, but I can tell you if you go to the site, you'll be able to see different information. So for example, CPD members in 15th District, you can look at it based on demographics. You can look at it based on how long they have been with CPD, things of that nature. You can look at 911 calls, like the number of 911 calls. You can filter it by types of call. You can look at the arrests in the district, and you can look at it compared to other districts. And so probably still not satisfactory. But what I'm saying is the information that we are able to have access to, which is a lot of information, we make sure that it is available, right? Transparency for transparency's sake. And so, well, we're in budget season, so we'll see. But I will just talk about, if that is a good question to lead me back into my section, the public safety section. We're a team of 20. I serve as the deputy. I have an attorney. I'm also an attorney, but I also have another attorney who's dedicated just to helping us like spot legal issues, look at legal issues just for my section. I have 3 chiefs, and of course you can always use more, right? And I have a total of 16 analysts. So we're a decent percentage. The office is only 120, and we're 20 of those. But I would never say no to more.
I actually didn't have a question for you, but I had a response to the young lady. We all aware that the DNC is coming here, right? But we're also aware that we're here right now, today, without the DNC, without anything going on in the city of Chicago. Our first response is never the police department. They respond after an event. Our first response is us, being community members, living in the area, coming out, sitting on your porch, coming out, looking. They can't do their job unless we do our part. Because guess what? By the time a crime is committed, the perpetrators are gone. You're the one there sitting there who have to give the police department the information, or they're just there and they're leaving. So we have to do our part. Even though the DNC is coming, this is something that we have to put in our brain and in our mind to live by. It's our community. And if we don't do our part in our community, we don't have a community at all. So that's just something to keep in mind. Police department is not the first responders. The people in the community are the first responders. Because guess what? When the crime happens, it happens to the people in the community. So you're going to be either the first responder to it or the victim to it. You have to choose one. And that means getting out, come sitting on your porch, being a part in the community.
Take our training too, man. We doing
It
the
helps.
gunshot. We doing the wound. We doing the gunshot wound training. 9/11.
Now, I keep a bag. Officer Munoz can tell you. I keep a bag right at my front door. A first responder bag. It has gauze in it, everything I need. If someone gets shot on my block, I'm able to be there before the police get there. Because guess what? That person's life counts to me. And I know that time in between police department getting there, paramedics getting there, that can be their life. So the training that he's speaking of, very good training. Everybody may not be able to do that. But if you just come sit on your porch, I promise you, it'll prevent a lot from going on. Just come out and be visual. People see, criminals don't want to do something in front of someone. They want to do it under the darkness. So come on out and sit on your porch during that time. And text to Art Now. We are setting up programs within 15th District so that if we have looting, if we have disturbances, we are able to be there to respond, to protect our businesses, because without the businesses, guess what? Already we got a property tax hike. You may not have noticed it. I noticed it just this week. Dramatic, 32%. So we got to protect the businesses, because the businesses take a big chunk of that tax break from us. If we have no businesses in our community, that rate goes up even more and we won't have a community. So we are preparing for that within the 15th District, how to respond to these issues. But it takes the community.
Can I just add before I let the Art Now number, if you'd like to take this down? Oh, it's on the agenda. It's on the agenda. Okay, cool. That's all.
Officer Munoz was also showing you all different tools in the kit. So if anybody's interested.
Right here is a tourniquet.
The tourniquet.
How much
This
that
is
kit cost,
you.
brothers? We need that.
Because you may need it.
Oh yeah. What I would like to do is talk to the city and see if we can get some of those made up for that day, that 9/11 day. Yep. So
Yep.
Could I have a question. Your office does investigations of city employees,
Correct.
of all departments. I mean, you
Correct.
spoke mostly about police departments, but this goes for all departments.
That's correct.
Even the aldermen, city has a few commissioners and department heads and internal.
That's
So-
accurate.
So because there are so many people internally that are employed by the city, your office of 20 does those.
My section is 20, so my section,
your
and I'm going to talk a
section
little
is
bit more
20,
about my
okay.
section, but the
Okay.
office is 120.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but that is exactly
Okay,
right. Yep,
okay.
everybody touching the city. So
Okay.
even those who are not employed per se, they could be contractors, they could be seeking a contract, lobbyists, jurisdiction over all of those. And not just jurisdiction again in talk, but if we ask for something, whether it's documents, an interview, whatever it is, like folks have to comply. So, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about my section again, just because we're on the topic of public safety. The district council members are part of the public safety arena. But any
I
questions?
just wanted to throw that out there because it was so focused on public safety that your office does more than that.
That's
But this is your minute focus for this meeting for public safety.
Correct. And I'll answer questions
Oh,
about
sure.
either.
Okay.
All right. So the public safety section, again, created by City Council 2016. Fast forward to 2017. That's when funding started. We had the first Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety. And so how does my section work? Because we talked a little bit about the numbers, and I said we got 20 folks, we got one other attorney, got some chiefs. So we do two things. We do those programmatic evaluations and reviews. So for example, last one we published was about Chicago Police Department's preparedness for mass gatherings, especially in light of the DNC coming up, and there's some lessons that were learned or should have been learned. If we go back to 2020, the protests around the murder of George Floyd, and here we are, right, 4 years later. So what have we learned, and what does it look like we still need to work on? So that was that. What else have we published this year? We talked about COPA. Well, it's really a CPD COPA thing, but the video release policy, we did a follow-up to that. We talked about 911 response times, ShotSpotter, like whatever topics you can think of, we have probably published something about it. So we do interviews of CPD members, we come out, we talk to the community, we look at data. So I have about half of my team that does that. They're just looking at all of these different issues. We've been doing a listening tour where we want to make sure that we are looking at the issues that are of concern to the community members. And then the other half, about half, what they do is they look at closed disciplinary cases. So COPA or BIA, they're going to be the ones to conduct the investigations. And then they come across the analyst desk and they go back and they look at the entire file. So they're looking at body-worn camera footage. They are looking at reports. They're looking at COPA or BIA's summary of their investigation. And we get together every week and we discuss everything that they've reviewed. And if we think that there are any deficiencies that materially affect the outcome, we will send a recommendation to reopen. So I'm going to segue into what I was asked to talk about earlier. Earlier this year, we had the conclusion of the Bureau of Internal Affairs, BIA's investigation into 8 CPD members, 7 officers, 1 sergeant, who were alleged to have associations, membership with the Oath Keepers. And so the Bureau of Internal Affairs conducted their investigation. They concluded their investigation, and we looked at that investigation. After we looked at that investigation, and you can read all of this, it was we published it Tuesday, so we can make sure that you all got it. And also a plug, sign up for our newsletter. As soon as something is published, then you will be the first ones to receive it. But back to our recommendation to reopen, we said, hey, we see a few things that we believe materially impact the outcome, and so we're asking that you reopen the investigation to conduct further investigation into the matter. One of those things was that one of the CPD members came across hundreds of emails from the Oath Keepers, and the investigator had said that they would have further questions, except that didn't happen. So we said, hey, you all should go back and interview him. Another thing is each CPD member, they're entitled to counsel during these interviews, except they're supposed to be the ones answering the questions. And so in the audio recordings, you could hear the attorney like whispering to two of the officers. So we say, hey, like either document the fact, like one, you're supposed to document the interference, but then also an analysis of whether there was any interference. That was the second thing. And then the third thing, which we had previously sent a recommendation to reopen with regard to another CPD member with alleged association or membership with the Oath Keepers. And so this thing where membership in and of itself is not a rule violation. And we said like, hey, where's the analysis? Where are there, the CPD rule says that, officers can't engage in activity that will bring discredit upon the department. So like, where is the analysis? And so we sent our recommendation to reopen, and the response was that they declined to reopen that investigation. So that's one thing that the analysts do. They will look at post-disciplinary investigations, and then we will send recommendations where we see deficiencies that materially affect the outcome. And sometimes they say like, yes, we will reopen them. And other times they, like in this instance, they decline. We also send letters to inform and improve. So when we notice a pattern or something, a deficiency that impacts the investigation itself, but not necessarily a specific individual investigation, we will say like, hey, here's a recommendation to inform and improve whatever that topic is. So for example, we noticed some of the analysts noticed as they were looking at the investigations, it said that there was supposed to be body-worn camera footage, except that wasn't found. So we sent a letter to inform and improve saying like, hey, make sure like that the event numbers, like everything is done. We don't necessarily tell them how to do it. We just say, hey, this is the issue. You go back, and however you decide to do it, go back and look at that. And then sometimes we send advisories. And so we've recently done that as well. We sent an advisory to the mayor with regard to Chicago Police Department members with alleged associations or memberships with extremist and anti-government organizations. And our recommendation was that so BIA, they're looking at specific instances, but we're saying that there appears to be a broader issue that needs to be looked at so that we can make sure that we are hiring members with these associations or memberships, that we have methods in order to detect when members have these associations or memberships, and then that we make sure we apply the rules to get rid of members with these associations or memberships. And we got a response from, the letter was directed to the mayor. We did receive a response from the deputy mayor for public safety, Darian Gatewood, and it wasn't directed to CPD, but Superintendent Snellen also sent us a response letter, none of which was anyone agreeing to do anything specifically as it pertains to this issue. So all of that is publicly available, and really that's what we do. Like any and all issues pertaining to or touching on public safety, we are going to look at it. We're going to talk to people. We're going to get the data, and we just put information out there for the sake of having the information available. At least when we have these conversations, we do not have to agree, but at least when we have these conversations, we can have like the same foundation, right? The same set of facts, understanding what something is or what it isn't, and that is what my section does.
Can I just ask, so now that you all have sent your response to the recommendation to the superintendent, you said, the mayor?
So 2 different things. We published them both on the same day. So just so we're all talking about the same thing. One thing we did was we sent an advisory to the mayor, and that was pertaining to the broader issue. So not specific as far as individual officers, but the broader issue. So that was an advisory to the mayor recommending that he put together a task force. And then what we did, which is what we always do, is we looked at the closed disciplinary investigation, and then specifically the one we were talking about is the one where CPD members had alleged associations or memberships with the Oath Keepers, and that we looked at their investigation, BIA under CPD's investigation, and we said, hey, these are deficiencies that we noticed that materially affect the outcome. Look at it, open your investigation, reopen it, and look at this again. And that was to superintendents.
Okay. So my question in the superintendent's case then is, so in that process he can say yes or no, and then what happens?
I mean, it's a closed investigation.
Well,
We don't know that.
Question. Okay, let me go with him. You say reopen it.
You say reopen it. OIG say reopen it. The superintendent says no. So then the CCPSA has the authority to find fault and the superintendent say no. If you say no, you gotta go, because here's the interesting part about it. I'm saying this openly because we have the power to band together, not just accept what someone says because they're sitting at the top. And that's the mentality that we have to change. Just because someone says no means absolutely nothing. It simply means, okay, no, slow, and go. You can decide how you want to use those words. No simply means you're going to sit back and complain and say nothing's going to happen. Slow, say, okay, let's get together, do this same collaboration and figure out if you won't be the voice for the people, then we got the wrong person in office. And I'm not saying in any specific situation. I'm saying that we as a people need to just understand the power we have when we use it together. And then we simply say go, because we're not going to stop until we get what we want. That's the difference. Since I have the mic, I'm going to go back about 20 minutes and talk about when you were speaking of the resources being allocated. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. We're living in these communities, and this is where the situations are happening. And yes, a lot of highlights and emphasis has become basically, and resources are being thrown at the DNC. Well, damn it, we're the DNC. We're the damn neighbors living in the community, DNC. So therefore, what it means is that we have to say that we expect a different standard of living. And this is not to excite you, but to get you understanding and understand you got the power. He said earlier that we're the first responders. We have to take ownership. Yes, I wish we would change the conversation to a time of when not to call the police. We're expecting so much from them. They're like superheroes. We want them to make my husband let me go upstairs. We want them to tell my daughter to wash the dishes and tell the neighbor turn the music down. What happened to the interaction and the socialization that we have? So that being stated, I'm going to contact you because I'm 31 years retired from the fire department. I left to keep from hurting somebody. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I came to the office of Inspector General and I got no results. So here's the interesting part about it. The system is broken. It's fractured. It's subjective because it depends upon who gets the file. The outcome is predicated upon the fervency that the person has who has the file. And when we get rid of the subjectivity, I don't care if it's related. I don't care if it's related to the president, the mayor, the governor, whoever. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Just like we come at the police for something that we perceive that they've done something wrong and we want their blood, we should want an alderman's blood, we should want a superintendent's blood, we should want a commissioner's blood, we should want everyone else's blood in that same fervency, but I don't see it. So I told you, I put my life on the line for 31 years. And when I realized it, I went to every resource, including the mayor. Every resource. IG, so many acronyms, you could put it in a soup. And nothing. I have documents from the police department that basically said it didn't happen the way I said. Well, how did it happen? FOIA, that's a joke. People, I ran for this office to teach you how to not accept no for an answer. And we got the work to do.
So, one, I thank you for your service. Two, I can't speak for any prior administrations with the Office of Inspector General, but I will speak for this Inspector General and how we operate. So, all of we have a completely, within our legal section, we have expanded our intake section so that we go through every single intake, every single email, every single call, send a letter. If you come to a listening session, every week, my section, right? So one, all of the intakes come in, and then each section, every week we have our section meeting, and every week, as an office. So it's not just one person, right? As an office, we get together, and we might talk about something, and we may disagree, and we would go back and forth. So I can't speak for how it used to happen, but I know for myself, and I'm telling you how it happens now. I've been there since October 2022. This Inspector General has been in that position since 2022 as well.
Do you know Carla Cooper?
She's the new head of the OERJ.
Oh, okay. So she used to, that was before I was there. Before this, and I would say, right, in a lot of ways, I also get it from the perspective of I was a prosecutor for 10 years, right? And so being a black woman,
You're only 19. How you feel?
Thank you. But a part of it was that I wanted to be at the table, right? How you're saying it depends on who gets something, or it depends on, right? And so I'm just telling you that I can't speak for what happened before, but I'm just telling you, with this Inspector General, and I'm at that table.
Is there statute of limitations?
As far as filing a complaint, you can submit a complaint.
As far as you may not have been at the table, is there a reopening? It's you want to superintendent to reopen something? What's the stuff?
Well, we look at everything brand new, so we wouldn't necessarily be looking at what was already done. We would just look at what is sent to us. Yeah, and I would give out cards, or my name is not common, so Madonna, Beyonce, Tabara, Google me.
Wait, Tabara, I don't mean to take us off topic, but I just want to follow up on something real quick about what Carmelita was saying about the powers that we have. So in the meeting with the superintendent last night, I ended by saying to him that there were activists, organizers, district counselors that were getting ready to press upon the community commission to give him a vote of no confidence, right? Right now, that is one of the powers that they hold. And I said to him, when it came, they wanted us to sign off on this, and I said I wouldn't sign off on it for several reasons. One, because the commission was getting ready to change over, and that was an arduous process. For two, I know summer was coming. 3, DNC was coming, and 4, they were saying we hadn't put any demands before him, and I say expectations, but we are still in a position where we can put demands before him. And the last thing is that there is a group now, the Alliance and others, that is pushing for a referendum to be put on the ballot, the November ballot, for our community commission body to be elected. And if elected, they will have a different set of powers and priorities. They will be able to hire and fire the superintendent, because this is a public body. We don't always want appointments. We don't always need appointments. The people need to be able to decide who is in these positions, and when they are not doing what they are supposed to be doing on behalf of the people, we should have the power to remove them. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I'm here for you all, so if you have questions now, or if you have them later, that's fine too.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of follow up on some things Ms. Carmelita was saying. Can you hear me? Because I'm not sure this is on.
Clearly.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, that no doesn't necessarily mean no, but I want to commend these individuals because they brought you before us today, because otherwise how would we even know that the buck stopped at a desk and it really didn't have to stop at a desk, that we still do have power to either relook at it or overturn it or whatever the case may be. And because this is all news to me, I didn't know that I actually had that kind of power.
Damn, you got the power.
But I mean, how does the average citizen know these things are going on and that they're not being maybe addressed in the way they'd like as a citizen of the city see addressed?
Well, and that's the
role of the district council, speaking of, as you mentioned, there's a lot of overlap, right? Our role is the hyperlocal role so that we could make sure that information was shared the way it needed to be. I gotta tout again, our district council is like the only one that's doing stuff like this. We're the ones making sure that people are notified. Seriously.
What did the others do? They were elected too.
We don't know. We don't worry about them.
Make it hard for us to do. We trying to do.
There's only one DeAndre. There's only one Karen
Yeah.
and one Kamala.
And 115.
That's it. That's it. 115.
And so we intentionally make sure that certain information, whether it's organizations or bodies that need to be in these meetings that represent public safety and police accountability, are here. That is what we focus on. And we also record the meetings for that purpose as well. So folks that can't attend, they have the ability to go back and learn, you know. And then we have new people coming every time we have a meeting, which is great because we always record it. We send out, and we're down there on the other, we move it around. So, yep. So, you know, that is our purpose, our mission. It was my mission as I was running, but it's become all of ours collectively, really, was to organize, educate, and inform the community. And that's what we do as a body. So,
Thank you. Thank you for doing it.
And so I will again answer any other questions now. Later, I will come back now, do the same thing, or I'll come back later. I will say that we have been to a few other district council meetings, and one I got to like play with some dashboards. So if you all ever want me to come back and do that, you can do that as well. Like just go to our website, like show you all like all of the information that is at your disposal. So whatever it is, or like if you see us publish a report, you want us to come talk about it, or if there is a public safety issue, like really we are here for you all. So like just let us know and we will be there.
yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks so much for having me.
So we skipped over a few lines here, and right before we wrap up, we will be taking public comment. So each person has 2 minutes to discuss any issues that they may have in public safety or policing accountability. So does anybody have any public comment they'd like to share? You do? Oh.
Go ahead.
I don't really need a mic. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so we can get on the recording.
All right. Well, the only thing I'd like to say, and hopefully I'm not necessarily beating a dead horse, but I've been listening to a few things lately, and it sort of sounds like it's become a recent realization that the DNC is coming to Chicago, and I think this is something that's been known since the last election almost, and so it's a little troublesome to me as a stakeholder in the city of Chicago, particularly the west side, which happens to be the best side, and that things are just now sort of starting to, the DNC is coming, when this is something that really should have been addressed years ago. That's my public comment.
It was addressed. Just one part of it.
There's a lot of me.
Any other public comment?
Thanks. I just want to, National Night Out is one of my favorite nights. It's going to be August 6th, and I've been going to the 15 Districts National Night Out since 2014. So I just wanted to put in a plug. Tuesday, August 6th, National Night Out. To me, it embodies a part of what we are striving to, where there's no them and us. It's right and wrong, and we are all coming together on one night, right? Chicago Police Department members.
More Park.
Oh, it's always in
More Park.
More Park.
And the
5,000
community
block
members.
of Adams.
So I just wanted to say that. Go to National Night Out. Tell others.
Come out. I'll be cooking.
It's not the OIG's event. I'm just as a member of the public.
Thank you. I'll put that on the newsletter.
You guys, please come out. I cook every year for National Night Out.
What you cooking? I ain't gonna be able to eat none of it.
Some of everything. You on grass food.
Yeah, read.
Did anybody else have a public comment?
Yes. Bring a chair and bring your own portobello mushrooms if you want to. Vegan. So bring your own steak. If you want something special, he'll cook it for you.
Yeah, he will.
Those are some cool glasses.
Excuse me. This is in line with South Austin Neighborhood Association, Sharon and the organization that we belong to. We are planning on a safety Saturday for the community, in that to keep the community to save themselves, as you said. We are going to be encouraging flood lighting, ring doorbells, and we want any information that we can get and will be left by your office to make sure that our Safety Saturday for adults is something that they can go home and say, hey, I can arm myself before the police get here.
When is it?
We haven't, it's to be determined,
Okay.
but because with all the things that are happening back to school and this and that,
Yeah.
but we are planning a Safety Saturday. This past Saturday, we did Safety Saturday for children, for youth. We focused on daycares so that the children who are in car seats, we had car seat installation, a demonstration, and we also had window stops so that they can't fall out of windows. And we had safety alarms, personal safety alarms. But that was for the children, and we'll be doing one for adults, probably August, no later than September. But it depends on what other people are doing. We try not to dance around National Night Out, parades, back to school, block club parties. So we have to do a dance, but I just want to announce to be looking for it, and I will make sure that your office knows about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, get your input from your office to find out if there's something that we can give to the community, or and tell them. 911 is a great resource, because a lot of times, I know as a former police officer, they call 911 and I listen to the call and I'm like, you really don't know what's happening, because of either hysteria, or they really don't know what they're seeing, or it's over dramatized or under dramatized. So sometimes when there's a pattern of, okay, license plate, height, what color clothing, those kind of things, sometimes when things are happening. So at any rate, we'll get from you guys what your resources are for public safety for adults. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Khalees Stewart. I run Front Porch Art Center. We just had a grand opening right up the street, 5851 West Madison. Please stop by when you can. This is a save the date. August 17th is the Austin Art Walk. This is our second year. We're partnering with Alt Space Sky Arts, and we're open to new partnerships. It is a walkable day of art in the Austin neighborhood. So many of our neighbors don't want to leave their houses, don't want to enjoy our neighborhood, and so we want to encourage people to come out, support the arts, do workshops, have an opportunity to, eat, fellowship, and learn something new. So just save the date, August 17th, for the Austin Art Walk. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Front Porch Art Center, to learn more about the day. And like I said, we're open to new partnerships, and I'm thankful to be here. This is my first time that I'm here, so thank y'all.
No, thank you. Anyone? I do have a public service announcement. So we good on time. One thing I want to say, we keep us safe, right? One of the things that I thought about doing, which I haven't had a chance to do, was that to think about. I know we have many block clubs, but there are blocks without block clubs, and we need them. because that is the original community policing. Because when I grew up, every block pretty much had a block club. They knew who was doing what. They didn't have to call the police. If it was something going on with them young people, they checked them young people and got them young people in line. I know it's a different time, but you know that what is that saying? Kofa says we can go back. Whatever worked for us in our past, it can work for us today. It just depends on how we work it. So that's gonna put that out there somewhere that we need to really start re-emerging block clubs, and we need to almost create I'm talking about for Austin, like a 10-point program for safety. Like, you know, the Panthers had their 10-point program. We need one for us in our communities about, you know, the safest thing I could tell young people is when you hear gunshots, don't run, get down low. Because they ain't shooting down here, they shooting up in the air. And I hate it that we got to tell kids this, right, how to be safe in our communities, but unfortunately we do, because it's just the time that we're living in. So as a community, as an entire community, we need to come up with a 10-point program so we know what to do when things are happening, because we are traumatized and we're nervous and anxious, but if we have something built in our membranes, like when this happens, this is how we respond and this is what we should do, right? Because we can't put all the burdens on the police department. They are human too. They have jobs, and like she said, they're being called to do everything. So what can we alleviate as members of this community, right, to keep us safe? And the other thing, and this is a service announcement. So my role at Community Austin Coming Together, I'm community organizer, and we are restarting conversations around bringing the restorative justice court to Austin. We need that court in Austin. And so we are, you know, building out resources and stakeholders. We're going to tap political officials, because to my understanding, the Judge Evans is saying that, because it was a proposal out there, they said it was sitting on his desk. He kind of kicked us to the curb because he now wants to open courts in, I know he's opening one in Sauk Village, but he wants to look at other courts in other areas outside of Chicago. But I'm sorry, if you're saying that Austin has one of the most highly populated, violent areas in the city, and we know it's our young people, but then you turn around and say we can't have a community court, like that's a problem for me. And so we are having those conversations. So I'm gonna make sure to be sharing that information with you all as we go along. But we want to get that restorative justice court in Austin, because our young people deserve that. Because a lot of times they out here, and y'all, I'm sorry, they don't know what they're doing. They really don't. They lack supervision, they lack discipline, they lack love and caring, and so they just out here. And so something like that, if they come through the court can connect them to resources, because some petty low-level things, they should not be in the Cook County prison for it, okay? So if it's things that we can catch them and we can get them the resources, whether it's some of them homeless, some of them are not eating, some of them are, and I don't know the politically correct term, I don't want to call them illiterate, but some of them, that would make me angry, right? When you can't, so there are a lot of things, some of them are being put into these lifestyles. We don't ever think about that part. Some of our young people are being put into these lifestyles. And so by parents, by older friends and people in the community. So we're gonna get that court in Austin. So I'll be in contact with everybody, it'll be in our newsletter when our next meeting is, but we're gonna get us a court in Austin because we deserve a court in Austin. Our young people deserve a second chance, a third chance, right? Okay.
Can I say one thing before you finish? You said that our children are being put into it. Let me just share with you last night my own experience. I'm sitting on the porch. I have a dog. The neighbor comes past with her dog. My dog goes to the fence and bark. He's 18 months, he's a pit bull, he's a big goof. He likes to play. She grabs her dog and say, "It won't be funny when your dog die." I said, "What?" She says, "If your dog bite my dog, your dog gonna die." She don't even live on the block. She's visiting somebody. I said, "Young lady, my dog can do whatever he wants in his yard." So I called the parent of the girl she was with to explain what she said, and she used profane words. I don't talk to kids, so I just talk to the adult. The adult tells me, catch this, I don't know who's lying. An adult tells me, I'm almost 60, that you don't know who's lying, while in the background the girl is cursing in her presence. She says she's got a bad mouth. I told my husband this shouldn't bother me, but I'm over it. So the kids being put into it, absolutely, because they feel as though there's no accountability. Just because they don't respect the adult in the house, they figure every neighbor looks like it's indicative of that particular adult. I'm like, really? I'm like, wow. And then she told her mom some things that's definitely not true. I says, okay, lady, I'm sorry I called you. I didn't say lady, I says, okay, ma'am, I'm sorry I called you. I'm clear now. I woke up with this on my mind because I'm not cut from that cloth. I'm not cut from that cloth, and I'm not okay with that. But I can't fault the kid because that's who's parenting the kid or not. So I get it. I absolutely get it. Go ahead, Hassan.
In a lot of these situations, in these households, we really have to look at the parent ain't a parent. The parent is a kid. The parent don't understand how to deal with simple conversation, let alone conflict. And that's something that we're dealing with in our community. Mental health goes a long way. It goes a long way, and there's all different types of mental illnesses. And we're dealing with that. I'm sorry you had to experience that. But as you were saying about the Restorative Justice Court, I usually don't talk about this, but a lot of our children are dealing with trauma. A lot of our children are having hard times. Just today, I fed close to 90 people at Moore Park. Most of them were kids. A lot of these kids were super excited just to get a hot dog.
Oh my.
I walk some of these kids home sometime, and I go in their house and they're sleeping on pallets on the floor with an empty refrigerator. A lot of them choose not to be in the street, but when you have no other resource, hey, I'm hungry. So they'll hit somebody upside the head for $10 just to get something to eat. A lot of them don't choose to sell drugs. They do it because that's the situation they're placed in. And I know, because guess what? I didn't have to make those choices in life, but I chose to make choices in life. I don't speak about this. I did almost 10 years in federal prison for interstate drug trafficking. It wasn't something that I had to do. It was something I chose to do. So therefore, I couldn't say, hey, it was the police fault. It was my mama's fault. Couldn't say it was nobody's fault. I had to sit there in a jail cell and realize it was my fault and that I made these choices to be there. I've been shot 7 times in my own community, the same community in which I give back to. Someone trying to rob me. Thank God I still have my life. And he allowed me to see things a little bit different. But if it wasn't for people in my life, which God just took one away from me in a tragic death, Officer Larry Newman, the officer that got killed, someone trying to rob him. If it wasn't for people like that and having people around me that cared about me and having a community where, guess what? My grandmother, my mother, they were nosy. And I'm learning nosy pays. You know? We gotta be nosy. And those are the things that we have to put back into our community because they work. I'm 43 years old, and guess what? I still can hear my grandmother's voice telling me, hey boy, do this way, do this that way. And that's what keeps me going every day. Without those teachings, I'd be lost. But second chances work. They work.
Restorative justice.
You know, I just wanted to say that, you know, when we talk about restorative justice, bringing that court, it's when we started out years ago before COVID, talking about bringing it to Austin, it was the restorative justice community court.
It still is.
Still is.
Community court.
Yeah.
And you know, when I heard the word community, see, that's the thing. Instead of turning our young people, old people, whoever committing the crimes, over to the criminal justice system, it's kept here in the community. Your neighbors, your church members, the people you work with, the people you go to school with, the people you eat at MacArthur's with, or whatever. These are the people who will be sitting there looking at you, talking to you about where you're going to live, how you're going to eat, where you're going to get your education, where you're going to go for your mental health. These kind of things. All these things are being addressed within your community with probably people you know, people you see every day. The young lady down the street, that you see in the store, or mama, or the lady you call auntie. These are the people who are going to be looking at you, holding you accountable, but also concerned enough about you to want to help you and save you. Because this is something that may just save your life, not just literally, but figuratively as well.
Thank you all for everything you've shared. Thank you to our guests for coming and being able to speak to the community. We don't have any votes or motions to take today, and I just lastly want to announce our next meeting, which will be August 7th, and it'll be essentially 5601 West Ohio, which is basically the empty lot on Central and Ohio. We want to activate that space, and we're hopefully going to focus on the DNC. We have one of the ambassadors from the West Side that'll, as a community ambassador, so she'll come and speak about the role that the community ambassadors will serve, and hopefully we can get some officers or someone that with understanding of what precautions we could take or should be taking, as well as in light of the movement of officers from the district. So that is pretty much. Oh, and bring your own lawn chairs if you have them. Sorry. Yeah, thanks.
Bring your own lawn chair.
For now, we got to bring your own lawn chair.
Or come back here.
Yeah, we'll be back here. But we got to move it around. We got to
I
move it around.
know.
Yeah, I say y'all got your own chair.
You come from Port.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. You are in the fencing. Yeah, we will absolutely do that. We will absolutely do that. That's a fact. Thank you for that.
Thank you all.
Can I say one more thing? I'm here to help them capture all the amazing things that they're doing.
Introduce yourself.
So, hi everyone. I know some of you. My name is Oswaldo Gomez. I've been involved in this system, and
You're on camera.
I was really trying to make a simple thing.
Hi everyone. My name is Oswaldo Gomez. Some people call me OG because of my initials. You're all my friends, so you can call me that. I am here to support them now. Prior to my role here as a staff member for the Community Commission, I served on the interim body of the Community Commission. I've been involved with this ordinance, this work, for a few years now, so I'm familiar with the work that they're doing, and you got great district council, so please stay involved. They're doing amazing work. The only thing that I will ask for y'all, to make sure that we get all this information out to y'all and to many other people, please sign in and get that email and that phone number if you feel comfortable, so we can, send you all this information. There are some resources that because of me they weren't able to bring, but I'll make sure that you all get them in your email box by the end of this week. And if there's an event that you mentioned today, stop by and let me know the date, the time, and the organization that's putting together, so that when we're putting together their newsletter, it goes out to them. So that's the only thing, just to make sure that we don't lose anything, because I was taking so many notes, but I'm human, I'm gonna miss some things.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we appreciate all of you guys' time. You've been very, very patient, and the bugs have been kind. Thank you again, Veteran Garden. Thank you again, hoorah, to our Marine, and thank you for your service. At this time, may I have a motion, Officer Munoz, Wyoming, may I have a motion?
And if y'all ever want to do a community ride along, this man right here.
We take you through all the roughest parts of Austin.
He better not take any of you before I go, because I'm still waiting. No, I'm joking. Go ahead, he's a good guy. All right, may I have a motion on the floor to adjourn, please?
I move to adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:35.
Second.
All right, it has been motioned by Councilor Arudis. It has been seconded at 7:35. We're going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Y'all take some food if you like.
I'm gonna grab that picture. We could do what we want.